Okay, so welcome back to Bible and Blues. We are once again doing Taboo, and once again have a pop filter because I noticed I have a lot of sound lately. So we're gonna see what happens tonight. Got myself a nice little head cold, so if I sound off, if I'm a little spacey, sorry. Took some cough syrup, and it's got me a little on the drowsy side. So pray for that, please. Anyway, so we watched Taboo, episode 4. So where we're at on that, and so we start off with let's kind of cover what happened last time. Just the very end of it was Lorna had been kind of abducted, kind of. Being used to further the ends of the king by using her as bait for James, and being taken as a prostitute, and when she's not, to a baron whom she stabbed in the neck. So anyway, okay. So from that, James saved her, yada, yada, yada. From that, we get to, what is it, the next morning. I mean, James knows what's going to happen. So the guard comes, and the redcoats, the British are coming, and they come and, pound the door. They take Lorna, just as he expected. He tells her, be steadfast. Do not sign anything. They're gonna. It's not gonna go well. Be steadfast and everything. So, just hold out. Okay. So then we see she's in the jail, and they're walking her through the jail, and it's jail back then is a total different place than it is today. For us here in the United States, I have been in a couple jails, and then it's one of these nice things about being a Christian is you're forgiven those things, especially if you repent, and I do repent of those things that I did that put me in that situation. So moving on, they walk her through, and it's it's there's men and women in this jail, and it's just open cell and open community, and would not bode well for her. Anyway, they take her through all that and take her to a separate room, and in walks our guys of the royal secretary, Solomon Coop, and he has an additional person with him, and he starts offering the deal for her to sign off on her share of Nootka. And as he's talking to her, he's undoing her clothes, and eventually has her down to where she's covering up her chest with her hands, and not going well for her. And he's saying, you sign, all this goes away, and you have an additional £1,000 in your £1,000 sterling for your troubles. And she refuses. She manages to refuse. So all of a sudden, it's about to go really bad. It's Solomon Coop is getting ready to rape her, essentially, and all of a sudden, the East India Trading Company to the rescue. Really? You're kidding me. So basically, what was going to happen was, had she signed this document, it would have completely taken East India Trading Company completely out of the picture of Nootka Sound. They would have so what was going to work out really well for them out of this whole deal suddenly was going to go completely away. So they want to stop it. Okay. Now we cut over to Godfrey. Remember Godfrey? Godfrey is he's a stenographer, essentially, for the East India Trading Company, and James is talking to Godfrey and Godfrey's in drag, and this is where this is what James has on him and everything. So he's kind of popping up. He's getting some information from him, and essentially the Easy Trading Company is fully aware that he's going to need the only thing anybody's going to be interested in trading there to get him started is gunpowder. And so their plan is to completely blackball him. They have blackballed him from being able to buy any gunpowder. Okay. So he's not a stupid guy. We know that about him. So he goes on to we see him. He goes to a chemistry show, and this chemist is doing a show with a bunch of ladies, and he's working with nitroglycerin in this case, and shows the explosion, very exciting and everything, and then James approaches him saying, "I've got work for you." You notice all the sordid details I'm leaving out if you watch this show. So there's that, and then later on, I mean, he's like, he's going to employ something with this chemist, for his whole plan. So later on he's talking to Lorna, and he's making a request for her. He's still looking for the actual treaty that got his father the Nootka Sound. And so he's saying, I want the trunk of my father's. I'm sure you can. And, how is that, so he wants the trunk that he gets. This is what I'm talking about, the medication. So he wants the trunk, his father's trunk that Lorna has. And, she has this little discussion of does anybody mean anything to you, kind of thing. And he's like, everybody that is with me has made their own, is as disposable as they think they are. Basically, they've all made their bed, they're all laying in it, and he's just utilizing the situation. So anybody that falls down probably deserves it, kind of thing. So a little bit later, he is going back to. I thought it's strange because he was back at the farm where his son is, and I thought he wasn't going to return there, but apparently, it was weird. And all of a sudden, and then the chemist shows up, and so he has ideas, he has plans with the chemist, and the chemist is going around. They're checking out the cow manure and the pigeon manure. And everything is, the guy's actually tasting the manure. Ew. So, there's that, and but it turns out, I mean, the guy's good, he's a chemical super freak of his day, and one of the things that he does to make a living is he makes nitrous oxide, laughing gas, and he takes it to parties of the big wigs. And sells it there, and in bladders or whatever it is, and everybody gets high on his stuff. He's basically he's a chemical super freak drug dealer. So so James has a plan. He's going to use this guy as a way of getting the gunpowder he needs, because there's other ways than just the traditional ways of just buying it. You can make your own, but you have to do it right. And so he's got the chemist for that. The chemist is saying, yes, we can do it. We need this. We need this. We need this. If we use this kind of stuff, it's going to take a year to do it. I don't have a year. He says, well, okay, it was a way to do it, but I have a theory that you can do it with saltpeter. So. And there's only two places with saltpeter. One of them is you pretty much have to mine it yourself. The other one is the East India Trading Company has saltpeter, and it's like the whole concept. They're not going to give it to you, and that's absolutely true. So, but he's like, you know what? You let me worry about that. Get prepared. We're gonna be making some gunpowder soon. Before he leaves the farm, he notices uh, uh, there's something going on. So he's checking it out, and he's attacked by this guy, this giant, huge guy. Pretty much the guy got the better of him, really. Really did. I mean, whacked him upside the head. His head was impacted. He had blood coming out of coming out top of his head. He appeared to be unconscious by so I'm sure he was actually for at least a short period. So the guy's dragging him, and James wakes up, or maybe he was never knocked out, but I believe he was probably knocked out for at least a short period. James gets his knife out, does the guy up, good, and the guy's not dead yet, but he grabs a couple of hay bale hooks, right? That's what I used to use them for grabbing onto hay bales, and he has two of them, and he right into the guy's hips and drags him, and that's gonna hurt. And so, anyway, so he pretty much guts the guy open. He tries to and then he goes out. Then the next scene, we see him making a deal with Atticus, and Atticus doesn't really know what we don't really hear what the deal is too much, but there it is. He makes a deal with Atticus. So then he goes into the brothel, and the brothel is this thriving little oyster business. And she's like, yeah, just cover. The madam, says, covers the smell of sex. Yeah, okay. So, what do you do? So, and when he's there, he sees a girl using a chamber pot, and he kind of realizes that there's his urine source, is the chamber pots. Anyway. So there's that, and then he gets it back to his house, and he's invited to a ball by this countess. A lot of stuff happens at the ball, and one of the things we notice, we find out about him is that he gets panic attacks with crowds. So with crowds of people, he's getting panic attacks, and he has an issue with that. But a whole lot of the players in his game that he's doing are at this ball. We see the chemist is there. He goes there. He takes Lorna to have to essentially have a date, and he takes and then he goes to he sees his sister is there. Her husband is there. There's quite a few members of his little thing he's putting together there, and the chemist is there. He's selling his nitrous oxide. He's partying it up. So anyway, so the countess is pulls him up, and very oh, I'm going to look at you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Let's go dance. And well, then let's see. I don't dance. Well, let's go hide then. So they go, and there's a magician there with the disappearing cabinet thing, and they get into the cabinet, and as soon as the door closes, the thing revolves, and they're facing now they're hidden, and turns out that she is an American spy, and we find out that she's actually Carlsbad, which is the head of the London chapter of Ben Franklin's Spies. And the American Doctor is there too, by the way, just FYI. The American Doctor, they are fully aware, the whole spy network is fully aware of his former relationship with his half-sister. And, they're offering to smooth the way for them to be back together, for him to take her with him. And they'll kill her husband to get him. And they're willing to go pretty extreme lengths to make this happen. So, so anyway, so he has a conversation with Carlsbad, and with the whole thing, and they. I'm not sure if it didn't sound to me like they struck a deal. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have a big comment section down below. Been watching it. Chet, tell me, because like I said, I'm on medication right now, so yeah, I was only paying a certain amount of attention. My nose is still stuffed up like crazy. Okay, so and during this whole thing, during the ball, he keeps looking at the clock, and at midnight, the operation begins to get the saltpeter. So the saltpeter is at the East India Trading Company, and so they use a prostitute and some people who are more than happy to kill others, and so they get in there and they steal the saltpeter. It took a bit of work to do it, and they pulled it off. They got a wagon load of saltpeter, so that's quite a bit. What else happens? Oh, also at the ball, because the ball had a lot of central attitude about this whole episode today that I watched. I finally watched it today. I know I still have Emerald City to do tonight. So anyway, so Lorna and Zilphia. Did I say the name right? I hope so. Are in a washroom, and Zilphia's the sister is in there. She's doing her makeup, and Lorna comes in, and she's I guess she decides to poke the sister a little bit, and just ask, well, if I had any designs on him, could I expect to hear have a problem with you? And the sister's like, yeah, I think the actual words were, no civilized woman would have any designs on James Delaney. So, there you go. So, no, you wouldn't have a problem with me. So, so that's happening. So, then Thorn, is high as a kite. He is a messed up individual with the nitrous oxide. He is just ripped, and he sees James, and he freaks out. I thought he was just going to run and attack him, but he doesn't. He's, he acts like just an idiot. And it's like, what are you doing here? Wait. And James grabs him, takes him outside, says, you need some fresh air, buddy, and Thorn gets up, and he's just not a nice guy. He's in a way he's kind of caught in a situation, but at the same time, he made a lot of this situation himself. So he's just not a nice guy. So he, there's Zilphia, and there's James, and he's Thorn's being a jerk, and then Thorn challenges James to a duel at dawn to the death. Do you accept? And James just kind of says, we don't see it. You won't see his answer, but come on, we all know what he does. So anyway, that's the end of the episode. Hope it wasn't too bad of a review tonight. I'm pretty tired. Head's all stuffed up, and I hate trying to do this stuff with a cold, but I've been waiting since Tuesday to get this done. So anyway, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Were you entertained by this episode? Did you enjoy it? You're looking forward to the next episode? I am. So I'll talk to you later. God bless.